this started recording. I'm so grateful that y'all could join me this evening so we could talk a little bit about what high school is going to look like and what the options are going to be at Heritage in the high school program. I regret that I can't be there with you in person. It's always better face to face, but I am very thankful that although I have no symptoms now and really haven't had symptoms since after the first 24 hours, that I did have symptoms so that I was able to exit campus pretty quickly and not expose anybody further to COVID. So I will be back in the office on Friday and out of the four walls of this house, which will be so wonderful. So thank y'all for joining me tonight. Before we get started, I am going to go to the Lord and ask him to be with us during this time, even though we're not physically in the same place. We are together through Zoom. So let's ask him to join us here. Father, we just come before you now, Lord, and we just thank you for your goodness, Lord. I just humbly sit at your feet and say, I am so unworthy to the position that you've called me to fulfill in your kingdom. And Father, I thank you for giving me this opportunity, Lord. Be with us tonight as we share, as we ask questions. Lord, help me to communicate in a way that is clear. And Lord, help us to clear up any things that I haven't thought of. Maybe these parents will have thoughts that I haven't thought of that will give us further down the road in being what you've called us to be, which is people that help children become what you created them to be so they can use for your kingdom. Father, we ask these things in your son's sweet name. Amen. Because I'm at home, I am going to also ask that you forgive me if my dogs start barking in the middle of this. They've had treats. They should be fine, but that doesn't seem to ever hold true when you're wanting them to be quiet, just like kids. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. So this is going to look a little bit different in just a minute. Just wanted to make sure that I didn't skip anything. So I made us a little PowerPoint to kind of work through. So the first thing I want to share with you is that our high school course offerings are going to have 4 tracks. Now, these 4 tracks have not been approved. The specifics of the 4 tracks have not been approved by our school board yet. That will go to our meeting next Tuesday. And I don't expect to have any pushback on the specifics, but I'm not going to go in super detail about what offerings we're going to offer at each level because that has not been approved by the board. But I will explain to you the beautiful thing about what we're going to be able to do is that we're going to be able to offer 4 different tracks for students depending on what their goal is and what your goal is for them as their parent. And so if your child says, I really want to go to a 4-year college. I want to graduate with honors because I want to have the best opportunity to go to a larger university. Maybe your desire, I want to go to Mississippi State, or I want to go to Ole Miss, or I want to go to Harvard. Whatever that your child's desire is, we're going to be able to offer them a track that prepares them for that. We will begin working with kids at the end of really at the beginning of their freshman year. The 4 that we have this year, we'll start working with them before the school year's out to say, okay, if this is whatever your plan is, wherever you want to go to college, let's look at the college admission requirements and let's make sure that we set you up for the best opportunity to walk into that school and be successful. Whatever that school is, if your child has the desire, I want to go to a 2-year college. Okay, well, let's look at what the 2-year college requirements are and make sure that you meet all of those and that you'll be able to meet your goal of going to a 2-year college when you leave Heritage. If your child's goal and your goal for your child is once they leave Heritage, we want them to move into a career or a technical field, then okay, well, what do we need to do to get your child prepared for that? And based on what your child's goals are and what your goals are for your child, we will design a unique plan for them. And that is one of the beautiful things that we're going to be able to do that's kind of unique, especially for a school our size. So what's high school going to look like? Well, the reason that we're able to do this and offer such a vast variety of content is because all of our content is going to be digitally delivered content. So you're usually limited in a high school with a number of types of courses that you can offer based on your instructional staff, because a teacher can teach, even if you do a traditional 7-period day, a teacher can teach 6 sections of something. And if you have one child or 3 children who want to take trig and calculus at an honors level or an AP level, that takes up a whole teacher for a whole hour. And that's what kind of limits you to as what variety of courses you could offer in your high school plan. By digitally delivering our content and having instructional coaches and content specialists, we can offer a multitude of things that would not be able to be offered in a small school, or even a school the size of PRC or Picayune, because of the number of classes that we have available to us and the content specialists that have such a varied skill set. And since they're not actually teaching every minute of every class, they can support more classes than they can actually physically teach. So we're gonna go through and actually look what that looks like in a few minutes, but that kind of gives you an idea of this digitally delivered content. There's an instructional coach on campus. So this is one of the biggest lessons we've learned this year. And so in probably the last month, we've hired a full-time instructional coach who has been with our students. We had instructional coaches, but they were cycling in and out of the classroom, and that was not working as well. So hiring a full-time person, that person is there with those kids all day long. They help them manage their time. They help them manage their goals. They help them set goals for themselves. And then, okay, well, how are you going to get there? Let's look at how you're doing. It looks like you're struggling a little bit more in biology. Get your lesson and bring it over here. I'm going to sit with you and we're going to walk through it together so I can help you get prepared and answer any questions that you're not understanding. So that person comes alongside them and supports them. We also will have content specialists. Now, not all of the content specialists will be physically on our campus. We will have access to content specialists coming from Baton Rouge, but we also are looking to hire a part-time high school certified math teacher or a high school certified science teacher who would actually come in and teach the math with the kiddos and science as well. Those are the 2 areas that the kids have really said that they really wanted face-to-face instruction. And so we're working toward making that happen for them. So if you know anybody who is a retired high school math or science teacher, or anybody that is currently not employed or wants a different kind of schedule, give them my email address. I would love to talk to them. It's very important. They must love Jesus, as well as know their math and their science. So if you know anybody that fits that bill, let me know. I'd be really interested in talking with them. So there is content specialists that physically are in our building. There's content specialists that will be available to them via the teachers in Baton Rouge. Now, our curriculum is going to be mastery based, and that probably is something that's not familiar for you. If you graduated from a traditional high school, much like I did, or even my children went to the traditional portion of Parkview's program, mastery based, it was not something that was available to them. Let me explain to you what that means. When you're in a mastery based program, if you work through your lessons and you take your test and you perform poorly on the test, you make a 50 on the test. In a mastery-based program, you stop right there, you go back. The test will tell you, okay, well, it looks like you're not understanding this section 4, section 6, and section 7 of what we've been going over. So you need to go back and revisit those things. Whereas in a traditional, you get your test back, the teacher starts the next day on the next lesson, and the fact that you have a shaky foundation because you didn't understand everything that she's now building on is not something that she can go back and fix at that moment. You're kind of having to fill in the gaps yourself. And so in a mastery base, you don't just keep building on regardless of how you're performing. If you're not doing well, the kids know it's red grades. If you have a red grade, that means you didn't score at a level that has shown mastery. So go back and look at that and retake it. And then before you move on. Now, you're not taking the same test. So don't think like they could just sit there, okay, I'm just gonna write the problems down and go back and do it again. And I'll copy them over. It's a new test covering the same content. So and all tests are password protected. So they can't just take them whenever. They have to go to the the instructional coach and get that password before they can go into the test. So let's kind of go in and see what it looks like. Now, I asked our current students to take some screenshots. They were very gracious. And so this is kind of what the program looks like. They log in and their textbooks or their classes are there as little icons for them. Now let's look. I don't know how well you can see this, but I've grayed out or blacked out the student's name and portion of their grade. But let's look at where it says Algebra 1. It does say NCAA approved, and that's because these courses are approved through the NCAA. So if a student was to go seeking a college scholarship, they could go anywhere that, with these courses and it would be approved. So let's look down here at this bottom right here where you see, I don't know if you can see where it says 0.04%. I blacked out the first digits because I didn't want to share the child's grades. But that will tell you what the child's current grade is in that subject at that moment. And then the progress shows what portion of the course that they have completed. And you'll see that they have that on all 3 subjects right there. Also, it says these classes started anywhere from beginning of August to beginning of September. So the Algebra 1 class started on August 14th, and it will end on May 21st. So you're going to see in a few minutes when we go into the calendar view, on the day that their course starts, they have all of their assignments laid out for them. So it's a really beautiful thing that they can actually work ahead if they need to. They don't have to wait on the teacher to get the assignments and things ready. So this is one view. That's the courses view. And I don't know if you can see this right here. It says courses under the student app. The next little link is the to-do list. Let's look at the to-do list if a child wants to see all the things that they need to get done. So this is the to-do list view. And it shows here, you can see that this child actually had something 5.04 scientific connections discussion-based assessment in biology that was due last Thursday. This was taken on Monday, so they're a little bit behind on that, but nothing to be concerned about. That's another beautiful thing about this program is that you do have due dates, but the due dates are not due dates like in a traditional class. Like you're behind on this discussion-based assessment, and I'm taking off points because it's now Monday and it was due on Thursday. The due date is there, but the child is not penalized if they don't meet that deadline. Now, there is a hard ending date for the course. May 21st, the course ends, and anything that you haven't done becomes a 0. So you can't just procrastinate. You have to kind of stay on top of things. And that's part of the relationship with the instructional coach and the student to make sure that they are progressing along and making a plan and staying within a reasonable range of the to-do deadlines. So, but the other thing on the flip side of that is if you catch up and you want to work ahead, you're welcome to do that. I've told all the current 9th graders, hey guys, our last day of school is May 21st, but that doesn't mean it has to be your last day of school. If you finish everything on May 1st, you've done all your assignments, you have all your things done, your exams are done, then your summer can start early. So you are not bound by the calendar to stay behind. You can actually work ahead. So that's another benefit of the program. So this view lets you see, you can see that they have something in biology, and then there's an English something was due tomorrow, which would have been today. And then Wednesday, tomorrow, they have an activity that they have to put in the Dropbox for health. And on Wednesday, they also have something due for their world history class. So that is the to-do list view. Here's the calendar view. So as I told you, everything on the first day of the course, all of their assignments are there. The whole thing is populated. So you can actually on August 15th, let's say, you can see what your assignments are going to be the week before Christmas. So you can say, oh, okay, I see what I have coming up for the week before the Christmas holiday. If you get that taken care of and your family wants to take a vacation and leave a little bit earlier, that's fine, as long as you've taken care of your business and you have done your work. Then you can kind of schedule that out because you know what all's coming the whole time. So you can see that this is showing you that they had the courses that they are currently taking, and that you can click on any date and it'll show you on the calendar view what's due on that date. So that's the calendar view, all the same things, just different ways to look at it. So let's kind of go into a course. This happens to be the World History course. And so they're studying the Agricultural Revolution. You can see that right here it says 1 of 11. So there's going to be 11 slides in this lesson. And the kids are going to click through. Some of the slides will be pictures. Some of them will be reading. Some of them may even be video. So they'll just click through there. They typically will have under resources some kind of note-taking guide where they can actually kind of leads them through how to take the notes or what they're going to be needing to take notes on. Maybe it's vocabulary and things like that. Now, here is something that has been very, not hard, that's not a good word. It's been one of the toughest lessons for our current 9th graders to learn. And it's something that we're going to lesson learned as the adults, work more with them at the beginning next year to understand. To-do lists are not just, your goal is not just to get everything done. The assignments that are leading up to the quizzes, that are leading to the test, are all in preparation to get you ready for that test. So you can do your lesson, you can copy and paste the vocabulary definitions and never read them. And you have technically done your assignment, but you haven't moved yourself any closer to the learning goal of getting ready for that test. And so the lessons are not just about getting them done, it's about the learning process. So making sure that you are reading through those things, that you are taking notes, that you are not just searching for the word that, that the keyword that's in the question, so I can go find that keyword and type a sentence down about that. You really want to make sure that you're understanding along the way. Then you don't have as much time to prep for the test because you've been prepping the whole way along the way through your lessons. So that's been something that we've kind of had to get them to slow down and not worry about just getting it off your to-do list. Make sure you're actually working through it in a way that leads to an understanding of the material. So I'm going to click through. So this is like, now we've worked through the slides. This is the same lesson, but we're now on slide number 10 of 11. And it says, okay, we worked through this whole slide. We've been learning all about the Industrial Revolution and its significance on the impact of everyday life in Britain, mainland Europe, Japan, and the United States. So you're now going to write an argumentative paper. And so you can see here, you can click on this tutorial on how to write an argumentative paper. And it's going to tell you step 1, I want you to choose one of these 2 claims and then defend that claim and then write your argumentative paper. It's going to tell you, here's the grading rubric that we want you, that you're going to be graded off of. So, you know, on the front end, this is, if you want an A, this is what it looks like. If you, these are all the aspects you have to make sure you have in your paper. This is where having, we hired Mrs. McDonald, who starts tomorrow, working with our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, who is also has experience in a high school. So she's going to be a great resource for our 9th graders and 10th graders next year to actually say, okay, you've written your paper. Let me see what you've written. Let's see how you're doing, giving feedback before they actually turn it in. I told you earlier that we can have an honors track in our high school, and you can see here that if you're taking this world history class and you're taking it for honors, then you are also going to need to do the next assignment that's on the next slideshow. If you're not in honors, then you don't need to do that assignment. So this is how a typical lesson will come through, especially in one that is not as skills related as something like math. So let's look at math. So this is there's 7 slides in this lesson. This is the second slide, and it says, okay, warm up. Before you begin, please do these 5 quick warm-up exercises. So you're going to click, the student would click right there, do those 5 exercises. Those will be exercises that actually have the skills that are needed to build on in the lesson that they're about to go into. So it's engage, what we call in classrooms, engaging their prior knowledge. So what do you already know about what we're about to learn that's going to help you be successful? Then they have to review simplifying fractions. So there's a little refresher right there. And then they go into quotients and powers, and they actually go into the lesson. So you can see that they have notes right here, and they can print those notes. And then a little bit, they're still on page 2, slide 2 of 7, because the slides can be long. And there's actually a little video showing them how to simplify example number 1. After they work through all 7 slides, now remember, this is where we would like to have, we're going to have a math certified teacher to actually not prepare the content, but actually come in and work with the kids in their math lesson. The interesting thing is, Ms. Burge has been home for a week on quarantine. And when I talked to the kiddos, the current 9th graders on Monday, I was like, okay, how have y'all been doing? You haven't had Miss Burge there for a week. So how's that been going? They're like, we're doing really good. We've got it now. She worked with them for a while, and now they're feeling really confident, and they're excited about the fact that they're having success. I am very proud of our current 9th graders and how much they've grown this year, not just academically, but in their responsibility and taking command of their own learning experience. So they've done a really great job. So at the end of each lesson, especially in math, they're going to check to see if you understood what you learned that day. So there will be a little quiz. Sometimes it's 5 questions. Sometimes if it's in English or in science, it might be something that's more a written based assessment. So explain this. How are these 2 things related? And they have to actually write something. But this one, because it's math, it's just simple questions. And so you'll notice that after they take it, they know how many points they got for this one. This child got this one correct. So they got 2 out of 2 points. The cool thing is that you can see the objectives. You can see, okay, these are all the things that you were supposed to learn that we tested you on. And you can also see the ones that okay, this is the objective that you're still not grasping. So you know exactly what to go back and re-look at and get help from the instructional coach. Like, I still don't understand simplifying monomials or whatever the topic is. So they get feedback. If it's a multiple choice, they get it immediately. If it's something that's written, it does take a little bit longer because there is a live person that's actually sitting there and grading that and sending it back to them. So what do our students say? They said that they've learned a lot. They said that the learning coach is key, that having Miss Balello, who is the person we just hired about a month ago, has been a game changer in the environment, and that they love it. They love her. Again, whoever is in that classroom or whoever's in front of any of our students, it's imperative to me and to our board that person loved Jesus, because when you love Jesus, you can't help but love kids with the love of Jesus, and then that makes them drawn to you. So I can definitely say that about Miss Balello. She's been a great addition to our faculty. So they said have a schedule and stick to it. Although it's not like when your kids were home quarantining at 8:40, you need to be in math class. They said they do better if you say, okay, we're going to do every day, we're going to do math from this time to this time. We're going to follow that up with biology from after that. They make a schedule and stick to it. Take notes, don't skip assignments, and don't put off tests. One of the students said she was like, I would get to the test and then I was scared I was not going to do well, even though she knew I can retake it if I need to. It would just paralyze her. And so she would go do everything else on her to-do list and some things that weren't on her to-do list instead of doing the test. And then all of a sudden you look up and you have 5 tests that you've skipped or you've put off. And now you really feel overwhelmed because, you've got so many to do. So take the test, don't put them off. Assessments are designed to prepare you for the test. Don't get through them, use them to learn. When you skip around, you are doing assessments that you are not prepared for, so don't do them. So you don't do them well, and you have to go back anyway. That was another thing that our kiddos were trying to do. Like they would want to do the fun assignments, or hey, this one's little, I can get that one off my list. But if you're not doing it in the order that it's designed, you don't have the prerequisite skills that are needed to do that assignment. So then it becomes harder and you have to do it again. So it was better to slow down, do it in the order it came, and then so you could do it well. So the next thing, I know I've been a talking head here for a while, so I'm going to open it up now for questions.
So, Joanna, this is John Bailey, Isabella's dad.
Yes.
How does attendance work?
Okay, let me unshare my screen. Okay, how does attendance work? It's really cool. As long as you're doing your assignments, you're there. It's not going to be, we're going to take attendance like when your kids come into school, we're going to take attendance. But if you are progressing, I don't care whether you do it physically in our building or if you do it, you know, hey, I have an orthodontist appointment. I'm going to stay home, work from home in the morning, go to the orthodontist, and then work in the afternoon. I'm fine as long as you are logging in and getting your work done. But we will take physical attendance every day in RenWeb, just like we always do. And then your work completed is your attendance if you are not working on campus.
Okay, thanks. And the only other question I had, is there going to be an opportunity at some point for dual enrollment so they can take classes at the community college?
Absolutely. We will be working through not just dual enrollment, but also AP, and we can talk a little bit more about that. There are goods and bads to both. I've had 2 kids go through, and John, I know you have as well. AP credit is you take the AP course, and then you sit at the end of the year on a specific day and take this massive test. And if you do, depending on your score, you can get college credit. If you do super well, you can get more college credit than you could have if you had taken a dual enrollment course. But it is possible to sit through, to do all the work for an AP class, sit on that AP test and not do well and end up with no credit. So it's kind of a gamble, and you kind of have to play to your strengths. So if you know, I am a great English person, I can write, I can really, put it on out there and make it sound really good, like I know what I'm talking about, and bluff my way through some things, then hey, take the AP English class, because you might end up getting more hours through that than if you had taken a dual enrollment course. If that's not your strength, then don't do that. Take the for sure dual enrollment course credit. So dual enrollment is you're actually taking a course at the high school, but you're getting high school credit and university credit for that as well. And so that's a for sure transferable credit, where AP is could end up with more credit, but you may end up doing all the work and end up with no credit. So you just want to be careful when you're making that decision as a parent or helping your child kind of walk through that and help them know what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are and what's the best way for them to proceed.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. The other thing, not really part of what I plan to talk about, but one of the other things that you need to think about as a parent is we need to start building your child's resume as early as the 9th grade. So we want to do service projects. This year, we really haven't been able to go out and do that because of COVID, and no one wants to let anybody come in to their environment. But hopefully that will not be the case next year. So, I was talking to one of our ninth graders yesterday. I was like, okay, if you know where you want to go. So for example, if you want to go to Southern Miss, I know that there's a scholarship for Mississippi students that's heavily weighted on your volunteer service hours. So if that's something that's important to you, we need to start looking at that as your freshman year and start building that resume for you. And get that ready. So it's not just about the academics, it's also about the other things that you're participating in and the other things that you're doing in the community to build that resume, so we can start looking at scholarships about your junior year. Any other questions?
So, this John again.
Okay.
Did your kids, did they go through this type of curriculum before, or was it different? I'm just curious I wonder what the statistics show for kids who go through this type of learning versus kids who go through traditional learning, how they fare on like the ACT scores and those kind of things.
Well, unfortunately, this was not an opportunity for my two kiddos. Both of them would have done very well in this kind of environment. In fact, my sophomore in college, but this is how she's doing school right now, as so many kids are doing right now. But what I can tell you is Parkview's been doing this specific curriculum for 3 years. We have had students, we've had a National Merit Scholar. We've had 30 plus on the ACT. They've done very well. We learned about the program through eLearning, who's been doing it for over 20 years, and they too have had that same success. Now, here's the key. It's all about the kid. It's what you get in, just like everything in life. You get out of it how much effort you put into it. You can click through and just get through and not have learning happen. But if you want to take your time and you want to ask questions and you want to make sure, hey, I didn't quite get this. Can you show me where I'm confused? You can do very well, and not only do very well academically. What I love about this, which is what I wish my kiddos would have had the opportunity to do it for, is you're responsible for this. Like it builds in you, with that instructional coach right there next to you, it builds in you the responsibility of, I'm responsible for my learning, which is what makes a good, successful college student is a kid that understands, like, whether I go to class or I don't go to class is up to me. Do I want to listen in class and take notes, or do I want to sit there and just let it pass me by? It's up to you. But you do it in a way, in a safer environment, with that instructional coach there to at first kind of keep you in the lanes before you kind of build in yourself that intrinsic, okay, I want to do this. I'm going to do well. I can do this. And then they can kind of step back and, let you stand on your own 2 feet a little bit more. So.
So basically, this is like online college courses. However, you do have a proctor or someone that you can go and meet with at the same time, correct?
Yes, and it is digitally delivered. Where it comes differently is that you have access to certified teachers who you can say, okay, I'm not getting this. Can you go over this with me? What did it mean by that? This is what I think it's saying. So you have access to a live teacher that you can actually get your questions answered. We are going to, as I said earlier, the math and the biology are the 2 things that my current 9th graders have said that they really wish that we'd had a real live teacher. So we've taken strides to do that. And so we're looking for a math teacher and a science teacher that will come in and teach the actual classes every day and work with the kids. So that but again, if your kid's like, okay, I got this, I want to go on without the teacher, they can, and then just ask the teacher for support if they would like that as well. Any other questions? Okay, there doesn't seem to be any other questions. Y'all can always reach out to me. As I said, I'm going to be working from home until through Thursday. So the best way to reach me is going to be via my email. So if you want to email me at joanna.dietrich at not giving you my old email address, jdietrich@hcapicayune.com. You can do that, or you can call the office and they can get a message to me, and I can give you a call that way as well. So please don't hesitate to ask any questions. As I said before, because we're doing the digitally delivered content, we are going to be able to offer multiple paths for students. So if your child wants to go to the AP dual enrollment, I want to take the toughest classes, honors classes, we can do that. But if your child's not ready to do that, we can do that the career/technical route, which means that they will have to take 4 maths, but the 4 maths would look quite differently. So instead of being, into trig and calculus, they're going to take pre-algebra, algebra 1, and then geometry, and then they can pick up a consumer math for their 4th math. So it will allow us to offer more range in coursework based on your child's needs and your goals for your child. So if there's no other questions, then we will, I'll leave, and I will send this out as a recording to all the families, just so if you want to listen to it again, make sure that you heard and understood. And like I said, please don't hesitate to reach out to me with any questions that you might have. Thank y'all for coming.
Thanks.
Thank
It's very
you.
helpful.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Bye.